What's the nature of your emergency?
Welcome back to the Tactical Living Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Welton, joined by Sergeant Welton. Clint, how are you?
I'm good.
You're going to like today's episode because you're not of this bucket of people, but I titled it Badge Envy and Navigating Ego and Competition Within the Department.
It's so funny because just thinking about it, like I have a whole bunch of people coming to mind and how they act like there's such a big competition and a battle for placement or a battle for promotions and all this stuff. And I've jokingly always called it the Game of Thrones with different levels of promotion and different details, because you start seeing people sabotage other people's careers instead of trying to help build them up and trying to create a brothership or a partnership with them to say, hey, you earned this. Good job. So
rank is earned, but ego can ruin everything. And I think that there's this silent tension that's caused by rank recognition, competition within law enforcement and first responder departments in general. And if you've ever felt like you've been overlooked or disrespected or even quietly judged, I think this is an important conversation for us to have. So things like promotions, titles, special assignments, they're meant to really reward leaderships and skill. But in a lot of departments where trust is thin and transparency is lacking, I think what happens is that this envy starts to breed beneath the surface.
It truly does, because over time, you like, and I'll just use my department as an example, and I think this goes for pretty much every department that's out there, is you see buddies getting promoted, you see buddies getting selected for details. In those instances, you're like, what hasn't this person ever done to even, be able to deserve this?
I think that there are a lot of signs that are indicative as to whether or not badge envy is affecting your team culture. And the first one is that promotions create this sort of element of division and not motivation. So it could be, an example would be like a new sergeant who's promoted, and instead of being congratulated, they're met with this sort of whisper and distance from everybody. And this undermines the team cohesion, and it can often leave that individual feeling really isolated or even resented.
Yeah, it's being able to think outside the box when it comes to that, because I think inevitably when you're not in the in crowd and it goes back to how high school was and junior high. It's like you start having these little cliques of, oh, this person's this way, this person's that way. And those officers that are under you as that recently promoted sergeant, like, they don't know you from anyone else, because whether you've been upstairs, you've been on details, like, they don't know you, they haven't worked with you, but they're going to listen to the grumblings, positive or negative, of who you are, and they're already going to formulate that opinion on you before you even had a chance to show them who you are.
With this next one, I have seen an officer switch departments because of this very reason, and it's that officers will undermine each other for recognition. So it could be like a coworker who throws someone under the bus just because they want to look good in front of command officers.
That's a common problem within police agencies, is people think that you have to stab your buddy in the back to be able to step on their back to promote yourself, and it should not be that way. You're a team. Like, it should never be rewarded by screwing someone else over.
So here's another element that I wish more departments would bring to light. It's vital, I think, and that is that rank becomes the only measure of value. So patrol officers are often made to feel like they're less than simply because they haven't promoted yet.
And that's something that I think, if we dig into that, it's, as an individual, there's something else going on there too. And then your command staff, like, that shows that they don't prioritize their people over that rank structure.
Another element to this is, like, titles are used as weapons and not tools. So if you have somebody who's constantly flexing their rank, even in situations that, really just require humility and teamwork, this can create a weakened leadership and credibility for that person.
Yeah, and we all know those people who they get that promotion and they come out strong and you're like, what is his problem? Why is he coming out like acting like he's God's gift to this world? And they have no experience. They have no understanding of what it is to truly be a leader.
Another thing too is that really high performers are going to experience burnout because they're trying to keep up. So if you have an officer who's constantly taking on training and overtime, special details, it's not because they want to. A lot of times it's because they feel like they have to in order to stay visible.
You need to be able to recognize that, especially from a supervisory aspect, is saying, look, I know you're working a lot. You have a lot going on. You're always here. Like, what's going on? And it's being able to have those conversations with them to say, you need to create that divide for yourself. Don't live for this job. Work this job when you're here and enjoy it and do your best at it, but don't live for this job.
Yeah, and there are so many ways to stay grounded and make sure that you avoid that ego trap. And I think that it's important to just kind of redefine what success means for you. So promotions are not the only measure of your purpose. I think that a lot of people need to realize the importance of focusing on impact and not the title, because the reality is that the streets need really good cops and not just brass.
Yeah, being able to show up as your best self on every call, you're going to make the biggest impact. And that's what you should always measure your performance by, not by your rank, but who you are as a person.
Another thing too is to make sure that you're celebrating other people in a really authentic way. I think it takes a lot of discipline to applaud somebody else's win, even when you're still waiting for your turn. This is something that hurts my heart so many times when you and I talk about certain promotions and things that have taken place within your department, or when people reach out to me and like, hey, Ash, I didn't get this, or like, hey, Ash, this person got it instead. Like it really does hurt my heart. And so I think that it's important for us to recognize applauding those wins, but also giving that reinforcement and that encouragement when things don't go as planned.
Yeah, being able to build up your peers is so important, and it is hard sometimes especially when, say, it's an incident that they did and they're getting all this praise for, and you're like, I did that like 5 times last week. What is going on? And it's where, and we've talked about this before, it's removing yourself, your own ego out of that incident and just saying, you know what? Good for you. It makes me very happy to see that you're able to succeed in that way.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, the higher ranked that I see many people, they don't focus on building vertical and horizontal respect. And I think that it's important to just make sure that you're not only looking up the chain, but that you're trying to build things across ranks and roles, and that you're going to understand the importance of just gaining allies in every direction.
Yeah, you need to have a foundational support from below you and above you. Like, you need to have those relationships. And people say, oh, well, you're just kissing ass. No, it has nothing to do with that. It means you just need to be a good leader. You need to, I think from every level within a department, we are all leaders. And I think that it shows more so when you step in as that officer and you're leading and you're taking care of business, and not only being able to articulate, your standpoints on things, but being able to have conversations with those next to you, but also those above you to say, hey, I'm recognizing this. We should probably look into something before it turns into a worse issue.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you've gotten some value out of today's episode. If you have, do us a favor, drop a review, subscribe down below. And as always, know that I'm sending you a long, tight hug from my home to yours.